Today we celebrate the life of Saint Peter Claver. He was born in 1580, was a Spanish Jesuit priest, and due to his life and work became the patron saint of slaves. During the 40 years of his ministry in the New Kingdom of Granada, it's estimated he personally baptized around 300,000 people and heard the confessions of over 5,000 people per year. He is also the patron saint for seafarers, considered a heroic example of what should be the Christian practice of love. The Congress of Colombia declared September 9 as the National Day of Human Rights in his honor. So he was born all the way back in 1580 into a very devout Catholic and prosperous family. Was a student at the University of Barcelona, known for his intelligence and piety. He wrote these words, "I must dedicate myself to the service of God until death, on the understanding that I am like a slave." When he completed his studies, he entered the Jesuits at the age of 20, and when he finished his novitiate, went to study at Palma, Mallorca. There he became to know the porter of the college and felt that he was called by God to spend his life in the New World, in the colonies of New Spain. So he volunteered for the Spanish colonies and was sent to Granada, where he spent and arrived at the port city of Cartagena. He was required to spend 6 years studying theology before being ordained a priest. During those years, he was very deeply disturbed by the harsh treatment of the black slaves. By this time, the slave trade had been established for about a century, and local Native Americans were considered physically ill-suited to work in the gold and silver mines. Mine owners met their labor requirements by importing blacks from Angola and the Congo, whom they purchased in West Africa for 4 crowns a head, or bartered for goods and sold in America for an average of 200 crowns apiece. Others were captured at random, especially able-bodied males and females deemed suitable for labor. Cartagena was a slave trading hub, and 10,000 slaves poured into the port every year, crossing the Atlantic from West Africa. Although the slave trade was condemned by Pope Paul III and Urban VIII, he issued a papal decree prohibiting slavery. It was a lucrative business and continued to flourish. So what happened? Once baptized, there was no stopping our beloved St. Peter Claver. He would go down to the shore and head for the wharf. As soon as the slave ships came in, he would board the ship, entering the filthy and diseased holds to treat and minister to those terrified who had survived a voyage of several months under miserable conditions. It was difficult to move around on the ships because those trafficking slaves filled them to capacity. The slaves were often told they were being taken to a land where they would be eaten. Claver wore a cloak which he would lend to anyone in need, and after the slaves were herded from the ship and penned in nearby yards to be scrutinized by crowds of buyers, Claver joined them with medicine, food, bread, and lemons. With the help of interpreters and pictures, he gave them basic instructions. It is estimated he catechized and baptized over 300,000 of them. In the last years of his life, he was too ill to leave his room. He lingered for 4 years, largely forgotten and neglected, physically abused and starved by an ex-slave who had been hired by the superior of the house to care for him. He never complained about his treatment, accepting it as a just punishment for his sins, and died on September 8th of 1654. He was canonized in 1888 by Pope Leo XIII, and his body is preserved in the Church of the Jesuit Residents, now renamed in his honor as Iglesia de San Pedro Claver. So there you go. St. Peter Claver, God bless him, gave his whole life to the suffering of other people, and was roundly criticized because, as we know, no good deed goes unpunished. So let us pray to him for the grace to do what he did, being kind, merciful, and always thinking of the salvation of others. God bless you all.